Thanks, Beth. Very, very excited to be here, of course, because, this is the ecosystem that made Aeroshield happen. So for those of you who haven't met, my name is Elise Strobuck, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of Aeroshield. We're working to manufacture porous glass insulation to enable energy efficient windows. And that's just because that's a massive problem. $40 billion every year goes right out the windows, and we continue to install those same kind of products. But when I was at MIT working on my PhD in mechanical engineering, working on this material, this silica aerogel, which is like one of the world's most insulating materials, and we had a breakthrough with being able to get the optical properties really clear. But I could barely spell entrepreneur, let alone like even contemplate what that would look like to drive that kind of innovation to impact. But in kind of the space, started off MIT, actually was funded by the Deshpande Center for Innovation. So also connected to a lot of these organizations, but they kind of pointed us in the direction of, if you're really trying to have impact with the technology that you're working on, which was definitely our goal, that you really have to understand like what all the barriers are to that commercialization. And so that was where we started to talk to industry and customers. And it became very apparent that there was a lot of wealth of work that we could do that could really change things. But it wasn't just research. A lot of the big challenges were actually all of the auxiliary pieces that come around with that. And, I think that, between the MIT ecosystem and Clean Tech Open, like we were able to get all those tools to understand that and be ready to spin out the company by the end of my PhD. And I think it just kind of speaks to the power of like, we were part of, Clean Tech Open, Clean Energy Prize were some of the first touch points where we went out and really tested our idea. Definitely went through Accelerate and Launch for 100K and met mentors and networks and built up in a really sequential way. But I think the other piece that I'll just mention is I think Clean Tech Open in particular does a really nice job of complementing the resources at MIT. So it's not the same ecosystem. It's a new one, it's a new community, and they are incredibly complementary. And that was so important for Aeroshield in the early days. We didn't understand everything that we didn't even know. And Clean Tech Open kind of took us through that program, kind of showed us the community, pointed us to a lot of these resources that we ended up coming back to sometimes, like even the MIT Innovation Initiative. Like we didn't really interact with those because as a graduate student, I didn't necessarily self-identify as an entrepreneur. But Clean Tech Open was definitely the time at which that changed and changed in like a really fundamental way and gave us this vision for going forward. So I would just say that like all of these resources are super useful and would use them all you can because it's just such a pivotal experience and a lot of fun and shows you a lot about yourself, regardless of what stage or where it goes.